Hi, it's Justin McPerney. So excited to be with you today. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to put up this awesome video of my partner, Michael Santos, interviewing Judge Bennett. And I'm filming this video from my backyard today with my daughter, who's going to help give me a prop to promote my book for free. Alyssa, hand me the book quick. This is the time to promote it. If any of you want my book, Lessons from Prison, for free, it's free. I'll put up a link to it. Thank you, Alyssa. Great job. A defendant called me this morning and said, I've got great news to share with you. I'm so excited. I said, it's holiday time. Share the great news with me. And he said, 8 or 9 months ago, you said something in a video that really impacted me. I said, what did I say? He said, you used the phrase disease to please. And I'm a people pleaser. It's why I'm in trouble. It's why I'm going to prison. Sometimes I will do things to please people, even if I know it's the wrong thing to do, because I don't want to disappoint or ruffle feathers. And he said, I knew if I am to have a better outcome through the system, I'm going to have to understand that tendency and prove it, including how I work with my lawyer. And I said, great, keep giving me the good news. And he said, I invested in your sentencing narrative program. I wrote a great kick-ass narrative. I sent it to my lawyer, and he said, I love this narrative. Well done. I applaud you. And then this person who called me this morning said, because of your interview with Judge Bennett, I then asked my lawyer to forward the narrative that I wrote to the probation officer who's going to conduct my interview. And the lawyer said, I like your narrative. Thank you for promoting the book, Alyssa. The lawyer said, I like the narrative, but I've never sent it to a probation officer before. I'm not going to start now. And this defendant said, without your work, without you helping me understand my tendencies, I would have just stopped there and said, okay, fine, no big deal. Instead, I shared him the video with Mark Bennett and Michael Santos. So let's hold on 1 second. I actually sent him the video with the federal judge, and I said something you put in one of your blogs, which essentially said, Mr. Lawyer, you like the narrative. If we're trying to use this narrative to influence my sentencing judge, if we're going to use it to, have this judge give me a better sentence, why wouldn't we then use the same narrative? Why wouldn't we use the same narrative to influence the probation officer who's going to make a recommendation on how long I should serve in prison? Please watch this video of Judge Bennett talking about how impressed he would be if a defendant showed up to this PSR interview with the narrative. To this defendant's credit, he did it. And he had a phenomenal interview. When he showed up to the interview, the probation officer said, this is the best letter I've read in the 15 years I've been a probation officer. It guided the whole interview. It set the tone in his own words through his own efforts. It was fantastic and it was phenomenal. So there's how I'll close before I wrap over to the 2-minute video with Judge Bennett and Michael Santos. What are your tendencies? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Are you afraid to hold people accountable? Use data to guide your decisions. And clearly getting this narrative copy and pasted into the probation report is going to have a significant impact on his sentence. It will influence the judge, but to the interview, it influenced the probation officer. So it's holiday time. I love sharing great stories of defendants who are willing to introspect and to think and hold people they give a lot of money to accountable. With that said, happy holidays. Get the book for free. My daughter ran inside, and enjoy this short video with Michael Santos and Judge Mark Bennett talking about the importance of getting the narrative into the probation report. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
And if the individual really wanted to take advantage of that wisdom that you just provided, would it behoove him to begin crafting that narrative and writing that narrative even before he has the pre-sentence investigation report, so he can communicate that to the probation officer, thereby giving the judiciary an opportunity to review even before elocution and maybe test the theories that the defendant is offering at the pre-sentence investigation report?
Well, that's one of the best ideas I've ever heard. And the reason why I hadn't thought of it is I'm not sure I've ever seen it. But I would be super impressed in reading a pre-sentence report if I knew that the defendant had thought about that even at the time the pre-sentence report was being prepared, rather than waiting until the night before sentencing to come up with it. So that would be astoundingly impressive to me, to have a defendant that thoughtful and a defense lawyer that thoughtful that they would include that information in the pre-sentence report. And the pre-sentence report, because you read that, it's primacy and recency, because you read that before you go into sentencing. I think most judges read any complicated pre-sentence report at least a couple of times. I know I do. That helps shape your frame of reference and your thinking going into the sentencing. So having something positive like that, as long as it's believable and credible, would really be helpful and put you in a better frame of mind towards that individual. And if you were skeptical of it, you would have an opportunity then to think about it, what type of questions you might want to ask defense counsel or the defendant if they were willing to answer the questions to make sure that the offender is being candid and credible in their comments.